13 things you need to know before going to Germany. Hi, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to a new video of mine. Today we're going to be reacting to this black screen. I'm just kidding. We're going to react to the channel of Feli from Germany. This video is 5 years old, so I don't know how accurate it still is. And also, yes, usually I do react to UK content most of the time. However, I do know that many of the UK people that are watching my channel are also interested in Germany or have been in Germany in the past. So I think this video might be interesting for you guys out there as well. This is a test video. I just want to see how much you would be into content of my country, reacting to German stuff and explaining it to all of you guys out there who live in other countries. And we'll see if you like the video or not. I'll probably see that in my analytics. So let's jump into this one.
You want to go to Germany? Here are some things you need to know before you go from a German native. Hallo, Servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but have been living in Cincinnati, Ohio, off and on since 2016. Now, traveling isn't really a thing right now, but I know that many of you can't wait until that's going to be possible again. And I know that many of you are planning your future trips in your heads. And for all of you who've always wanted to visit Germany, or even move to Germany, I'm sharing some things that you should definitely know before you go. These are things that I usually tell friends who go to Germany for the first time, but I'm sure that many of you guys could benefit from this as well. The first one sounds pretty obvious, but believe me, people forget about this all the time. Different countries have different outlets and voltages. So if you're from the US, you'll need to bring or buy an adapter if you want to use your electrical devices, because your American plugs won't fit into a German outlet. Yeah. We also have a voltage of 220, 230 volt in Germany, whereas it's only 120 in the US.
And I didn't know that.
Not all electronic devices can handle the switch, so be sure that you do some research about that before you go. Especially hair dryers and hair straighteners usually don't work with a different voltage. I actually broke a hair straightener once because I tried using my German one in the US and that just made it stop working. What does work usually though is laptops and phone chargers and those kind of things. And even though I am obviously aware that the outlets are different, I totally forgot about it this past Christmas when I went home to be with my family, because I got a new laptop recently in the US that came with an American charger, and I totally forgot that for the first time ever I would need an adapter that goes from American plug to German plug and not the other way around. But luckily my dad has a bunch of travel adapters and one of them actually fit. Then of course we also use
okay. Talking about electricity plugs, when I went to London, I didn't know, maybe that sounds dumb, but that's the truth. I didn't know about the different plugs. So when we arrived in London, it was a culture shock for me, because I thought in the EU, in all EU, it's like we all have the same plugs, because we have the same, for example, in Italy where I was before, or in Switzerland. But in the UK, it's completely different. So we went there and none of our electrical things that we brought, none of them worked. So we had to go and buy one of these adapters, and here's when everything went wrong. So we made the typical mistake of a tourist, because on that one day when we went to Camden Market, we walked through this one street where there was so many like vendors outside. They weren't like shops, or I think they were shops, but they had so much stuff outside. It looked like a market rather than like little shops one by one. And now I know they're tourist traps. But I didn't know that back then. And every single one of them sold the same stuff. It should have told me something, but to be honest, I've never really been to any foreign countries before. And I was still young. It was like 12 years ago. And I had no idea. So I bought an adapter in one of these little, whatever you call them, shops. We went back home, really happy that we do have an adapter and we can use all our electrical devices, including our cell phones and computer. When we finally arrived home, we put it in and it didn't work. So yeah. In Germany, we do have a saying: those who buy cheap buy twice. And that's exactly what happened because we had to go to an electric supermarket, I don't know which one it was, and buy a real adapter, not one of a tourist trap. In hindsight, I'm really happy that it didn't work though, because I think it could have also been very dangerous. It could have caught fire, or the electricity of the whole house could have been shut down, or I don't know what can happen if you use an adapter that's not really an adapter but something else, just trash, for €1 or pound, or I don't know how much we paid. It wasn't much. So I learned from that experience, and I'm never gonna do that again. Always go to a real supermarket if you want to buy these things. It's important.
There's a different currency in Germany. It's the euro, just like in many other countries in the European Union. And at least compared to the US, we also use a different measurement system, the metric system with kilometers instead of miles, etc. Even though the US really is the odd one out here.
Sure. Store hours.
The next point causes a pretty big shock for many people who visit Germany for the first time. Stores are closed on Sundays, even grocery stores. So make sure to plan ahead, because the only places you'll be able to find any groceries on a Sunday are stores at train stations and gas stations.
Yes.
This has a Christian background, but it also has to do with workers' rights. In Germany, we believe that everyone should be able to get a rest day on Sunday and spend time with their family. Restaurants, movie theaters, and those kind of things are usually open though.
That's true. And also, I did have a culture shock when I did this Google Maps thingy once for the UK. And there was this, was it a Lidl or an Aldi that was open on Sunday? Because I've seen like the opening hours. I'm like, what the heck, Sunday? What's going on here? Shops do open on Sundays in the UK as well. So it would be different for you guys if you came to Germany, because like she said, everything is closed on a Sunday, like supermarkets and stuff. Like she said, like cinemas, for example, are open, or gas stations are open, or different shops at the stations, train stations. Those are usually open. However, the normal shops, they're all closed.
Even if you're only in Germany for a day, you should make sure to carry cash on you. Germany has a pretty big cash culture, and there might be quite a few occasions where you won't be able to pay electronically, like when you want to get something at a bakery, a kiosk, small stores that don't accept card payments, or things like parking machines. You can either get some cash from the ATM in Germany, but be aware that there will probably be an ATM fee and a currency conversion fee if your bank account isn't in euros, or you can also ask your bank at home to get some euros to you before you leave. That might be the best option actually, because that way you'll also have some cash right when you arrive in case you need it. What you shouldn't do though is exchange money at the airport, because it'll be a lot more expensive.
I've had the same problem when I went to the UK because I didn't have the currency. So we went to a currency changing bank. I don't know what it is called. I'm sorry. It was expensive to say the least. I think that was the first tourist trap we walked straight into after we entered the country. It was so bad. Like, we made all the mistakes that you can make. But when you come to Germany, I mean, like I said, this video is 5 years old. Not much has changed ever since then. I mean, in the big supermarkets and the big shops, I always pay via mobile phone nowadays. However, there are still shops, stores in the city, smaller ones, that still do want your money, like real money. So it's still a thing. Also, small bakeries, for example, or like market stalls or something in the city, they only take cash. So it's still a little bit of a problem, but not so much anymore.
If you would like to join Skillshare as well, make sure to check out the link in the info box below, because the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link will get a free trial of premium membership so that you can explore your creativity. And even without that offer, it's
I
less
wonder
than
if
$10
the
a month
link is
with
still
an annual
valid.
subscription.
Like 5 years later, I don't know.
Now let's talk about what you need to know about driving in Germany.
Driving, oh
There
yeah.
are a few differences that you should be aware of before you get behind the wheel.
Drive on the
first thing
right
is
side
that
of the
gas
street.
is a lot more expensive in Germany
Oh,
than it is
yeah.
in the US. It's about 3 times as expensive. So if you were going to rent a car and just drive around Germany or Europe, that's not going to be as cheap as you probably expected. In fact, it might be a lot cheaper to get around by bus or train. We have a pretty good train system all over Germany and over Europe too. And especially if you're just staying within one city in Germany, public transportation might be a more convenient and less stressful option for you too, because traffic can be a little crazy, the drivers can be aggressive, and parking in a German city is usually a nightmare. When you need to get gas, you should know that you pump first in Germany and then pay afterwards. And you don't usually pay at the pump, but you'll have to go inside afterwards to do so. The regular gas in Germany is called Super, but of course you can always look at what it says inside of the gas cap as to what kind you should put in the tank. Then of course there are different driving laws in Germany, so be sure to check those out before you get on the streets. Two major things are that you can't turn right on red, and you always need to watch out for cyclists and pedestrians, especially when turning right. I found that that's not really something that people learn in driver's ed in the States, because in many American towns, people walking or riding their bike isn't really a thing. For everything else, like the street signs, speed limits, and driving on the highway, the Autobahn, you can check out my video on driving if you want to learn more.
What? 180 miles per hour, 2,000 euros for a driver's license. Yeah, I paid 4,000 Mark, Deutsche Mark. I mean, let's not talk about that one. But I had to do it 3 times. Like the test in the end, I had to drive 3 times in order to pass. Because I was so nervous. Let's not talk about it. I made stupid mistakes and I literally paid for them. However, what I did want to talk about are the gas prices. This is more relevant now than it was 5 years ago, because the gas prices have literally exploded within the last 6 to 7 months. By the way, it's some kind of irony that she's comparing the US and Germany in her video, because ever since Trump started this Iran war or whatever he's doing right now, allegedly, I just want to make sure, ever since that started, our gas prices have literally exploded. It's like really expensive. And our politics at the moment, thanks CDU for doing nothing. All they do is help the gas stations and the companies behind them, but they're not helping us as people. Everything they're doing to get the prices down is just crap. They released a law that I think it was 12 cents, that the prices should be 12 cents less than usual, either 12 or 17. I don't really remember the exact number. However, they released this law that the gas prices should be cheaper. And the moment this law was over, because they only made it valid for 3 months, and those 3 months were over like 2 weeks ago, 1 or 2 weeks ago, the prices jumped so freaking high. After this law was finished, the prices are even higher now than they were ever before. I mean, look this. This is a picture of the 1st of July, which was like 4 days ago, because at the end of June, this one law that I just talked about ended, and those were the gas prices. And most of the cars are having Super, which is 198. And by the way, this is not the most expensive. We've had prices over €2 that day. Oh, see here, a median of €2.03. So you can see it over here. This is where the prices were before the law, and then the prices went down over the time of April and May and June. And now the law ended and the prices are like moving up again. It's gonna be just a matter of time. And they arrived at 244. This was tops. It's just, I mean, this is diesel, which usually is less expensive than Super. So much for the gas prices in Germany.
If you want to learn more.
Drinking in public.
This one
Okay.
might be kind of shocking to Americans. In
Yeah.
Germany, it's legal to drink
It's the same in
alcohol
the
in
UK,
public,
right? You can
and
drink in
Germans do that a
public.
lot too, especially in the summer. So don't be surprised by that, and who knows, maybe you're gonna try it too and get a cool experience out of it if you can just sit by the river on a warm summer night with a 50-cent beer from the corner store. And yes, beer is pretty cheap in Germany, but it's still very, very good. Now, if you visit Germany as a tourist, you're probably gonna spend a lot of time at restaurants. So here's a few things that you should know about that. So when you walk into a restaurant, you can usually just seat yourself and don't have to wait for someone to show you to a table. Then you won't get ice in your drinks unless you ask for it, but even then, it'll probably just be a couple of ice cubes. The sizes of drinks are also pretty small in comparison to the States, just like almost everything in Germany. And water is not free at German restaurants, so if you order water, you'll usually get bottled water, either still or sparkling, which Germans are huge fans of. Once you're done, you have to ask the waiter for the check. They won't bring it to you automatically, and you're probably gonna have to flag them down because they're not gonna check on you all the time. And then they'll usually have you pay right at the table, either with cash, or you can also pay with your card in most restaurants, but you'll have to let them know because they'll have to get the little device first. Now, when it comes to tipping, we tip around 10% in Germany, and the way it works is that you just tell the waiter directly what you want to round it up to. So if your check is 20 euros and you want to tip them 2 euros, you just tell them to make it 22 and you'll get the change for that. It works the same way with card payments too, so make sure to tell them the tip before you insert your card. Also, just a heads up, the waiters in Germany might seem kind of cold compared to the ones in the US. You'll have to flag them down if you need something, and they're probably not going to be as friendly, which has to do with the fact that they don't have to rely on tips as much, but also with the German customer service in general.
This, by the way, is a very interesting topic. And now that I have watched all of what she just said, I noticed that there are many differences in between American and German restaurants. I wonder, is there a video on YouTube that I could watch about the UK restaurants and what rules there are about waiters? Or, I mean, I've seen this one TikTok. Oh my gosh, I still remember like it was yesterday. So UK people usually when they when they try to get the waiter to their table, they're like and making this sound as well. That's what the TikTok said. So I know something about UK restaurants, but for example, if you enter a restaurant, do you seat yourself or do you get seated? Or is there a menu card that you get at your table? Or how do you order? How friendly are the waiters? How do you pay? All of that stuff. Is there free water? Are there free refills? Do you have water with gas usually or without? Like, there are so many questions that I do have about UK restaurants. If you know a video that would solve all of these problems and tell me how this works in the UK, please let me know because this is something I'm really interested in. Okay, customer service. Oh, I can make this one short. There is none. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Please don't let it scare you off, but the customer service in Germany is pretty bad compared to the US, at least in my opinion. I know that many Germans are going to disagree with me in the comments, but if
I
you're
won't.
used to American standards, it's very likely that some of the people working in German customer service will make you feel like you're bothering them or annoying them. If that happens, please don't think that it has anything to do with you being a tourist or not speaking German. It's nothing personal. They treat me like that too. Of course, there's also many great people working in customer service who are lovely to talk to, but unfortunately, that's not the standard in Germany.
And I like it. You know what? I like it because I don't want to be bothered having to talk to people as well. When I go into a shop, I don't want to have somebody get close to me and ask me, "Do you need something? Can I help you with something? What are you looking for?" I just want to walk through that shop without being bothered. I just want to see what they have and not talk to any people. And even though I don't find something, if I'm standing in a shop and I don't find what I'm looking for, I'd rather leave again without buying anything than asking a person. I mean, this is me. I'm an introvert. There might be different people in Germany, so this is not for everyone. I'm not talking for everyone. However, the majority of Germans do want to be left in peace and alone when they go shopping. And whenever someone approaches me in a store, I'm like, nah, I'm good, thanks. I'm just looking. I'm just looking. And then they're like, oh, okay. So if someone approaches you in a German store and you don't want to be bothered, you just say, ich guck nur, ich guck nur. And you do this hand movement, like, can you see it on camera? Like, ich guck nur. And shake your head, do this hand movement, and say, ich guck nur. I just look. And then they're like, oh, okay. It's okay. That's how you get rid of them. Paying to be okay. Yeah, oh my gosh, I hate this.
One of the most popular topics of complaints among tourists is that you have to pay to use the bathroom in Germany.
Is that the same in the UK?
That's going to be the case. Like at rest stops on the highway, you'll find these bathrooms with turnstiles, and at some public bathrooms there will be a person sitting with a tipping plate, but that's not always the case, and at restaurants it's usually free. But yes, sometimes you'll have to pay for using a public bathroom, so it's always best to carry some change on you, just in case.
That's true. Just real quick, I hate this in Germany and I hope they will change it because it's just annoying that if you don't have cash, because like I said, nowadays you can pay almost everywhere with your phone. But when there are people sitting in front of the toilets at this small table and they just have this one bowl where you put money inside and it has to be cash, you can't pay with card, you can't use the bathroom. And there are not many bathrooms in Germany to begin with, like public bathrooms. And if you find one, you have to pay with cash, which is so stupid. It's so stupid. So every single time we're outside and we do need a bathroom, the first thing we're looking for is either a McDonald's or a Burger King. Then we just park, go into the bathroom and leave again. Because that's the only places in Germany where you can, and this is also a tip for all of you out there, where you can go to the toilet and you don't have to pay anything. And also, there was never ever this one time where a worker at McDonald's or Burger King was like, oh, you've used our bathroom, you have to buy something. It's not like that. At least it never happened to us, and we did this so many times before in different cities, and it's just easy. It's just easy. Next.
Germans like rules and they like to follow the rules, and that includes stopping at a red pedestrian light. So no jaywalking in Germany, and by that I mean that you won't see a lot of Germans jaywalk, and many of them don't like it when others do it either, which by the way applies to other rules too. You may even get reminded by strangers to follow the rules.
True.
Besides the whole no jaywalking thing, some of these rules are to stay right on escalators to let people pass on the left. And very, very important, don't walk or stand in bike lanes. Next to the sidewalk, there's usually a bike lane, and there are many cyclists in German cities. And if you block the bike lane, you may either cause an accident or you'll probably have a person on their bike ring their bell at you or even yell at you.
Ring their bell at you in a very aggressive way. It's not like a ding, ding, ding. So you can get out the way because you're noticing it's gonna be like ding, 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 followed by a du Vollidiot, was machst du denn auf der Straße? Das ist der Fahrradweg. Something along those lines. So this is the worst mistake you can make in Germany ever, because it's gonna get you killed one way or the other. Either the bike's gonna crash into you or the person is gonna get off the bike and just kill you right away. Sarcasm, not true. However, yes, it is really dangerous to stand or walk on a bike lane in Germany. Dubbing.
Okay. In case you happen to turn on the TV or want to go see a movie in Germany, don't be surprised if your favorite American actor suddenly speaks German, because almost everything is dubbed in German.
Oh yeah,
we do consume a lot of American movies and shows in Germany, but Germans aren't big fans of subtitles. And even though more and more people do consume English media in their original version nowadays, the norm in Germany is the dubbed versions. Some movie theaters do show movies in the original versions too, though. You'll just have to look out for the little addition behind the title that says OV.
That's true. And I hate subtitles.
Many of you have probably heard the cliche that Germans are pretty reserved and rather cold, and there's actually a lot of truth to that. So before you go to Germany, you should definitely know that Germans don't usually talk to strangers a lot, and we aren't big on small talk, so don't expect
Mhm.
to have some nice conversations with people at the store or something. It depends on who you
Yeah.
interact with, of course, but at first sight, Germans can come off as unfriendly, especially when compared to Americans. It's nothing personal though, it's just a cultural difference. But if you ever have a concrete question, don't hesitate to approach a German and ask them, because Germans are usually very glad to help.
That's true. I think the difference might not be that big when you compare British people to Germans. I think you guys are almost the same when it comes to having small talk, or maybe at least the people outside of pubs, because I can imagine, I don't know, but I can imagine that if you go to a pub, you go there in order to meet people, also strangers, and maybe you're a little more talkative when you are in a pub, but outside you're from what I've heard, British people are usually not that open to conversation with strangers. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true. Please correct me in the comments down below. Speaking English and German. Okay, what's that about?
Now, how should I ask someone for advice if I don't speak German? Well, most Germans do know
Oh,
some
yeah.
English. They may have a thick
I
accent
know
and may
some
not be able to
English.
have a full conversation, but they'll definitely be able to, give you directions or tell you the price of something. Many Germans also speak pretty good English, so those of you who come to Germany and do speak some German and want to use it, don't be thrown off if you speak to someone in German and they reply in English. It's a thing that many Germans do, and I know that it can come off as rude in a way, but they usually just want to make life easier for the two of you because they know that German is a difficult language, and if they think that their English is better than your German, they may think that they can make the conversation more efficient by switching to English.
True.
So please don't be offended by that. If you really, really want to practice your German, I'm sure you can just ask them to stick with German.
That's true.
The last point on my list is mainly targeted at people who want to move to Germany. Now, when you move into a new place, be prepared that it might come entirely empty. And by that I mean that there won't even be blinds, curtains, or light bulbs in it, and oftentimes not even a kitchen. So the space where the kitchen is supposed to be will just have a bunch of cables and pipes stick out of the wall, and you'll be responsible for getting all of the appliances and cabinets. Also,
Yeah, true.
leases are usually unlimited in Germany, unless it's like a sublease or something. But in the US, I found that a lease usually has an end date, 1 year in a lot of cases, and then you can either renew it or end it. You won't have to do that in Germany. Also, when looking for a place, you should be aware that a bedroom can be really small in Germany, so you should always look at the size of the room or the apartment and not just the number of bedrooms, because a 3-bedroom apartment in Germany could be smaller than a 1-bedroom in the States. Also, bedrooms don't have closets in Germany, so you'll need a wardrobe or a dresser to put your clothes in, and there are many, many more differences regarding German and American houses, so if you're interested in that, you can just click here and check out my video about differences at home.
I think also the difference between the UK and the Germany with that topic isn't that big because I think you guys are using normal wardrobes just like we do in Germany. You don't have these walls with built-in wardrobes. Correct me if I'm wrong. And also, that's what I wonder though. Maybe you can help me out in the comments. If you move, do you take your kitchen with you or do you leave them in the apartment? Because in Germany, usually you take your kitchen with you and the apartment comes with a blank room. Just like she said, move into a new apartment, there will be no kitchen. And I wonder if it's the same in the UK. Maybe you can help me out with this one. I think that's a really big difference between America and Germany though. Thank you so much, Feli, for this video. It was really entertaining. I like it so much. I've also seen that she made another video for 2026, like a really recent one with new rules that you have to follow in Germany or that you should follow in Germany. If you would be interested in me watching or reacting to that video as well, let me know in the comments down below or like this video. Just give me some kind of sign that you will be interested into a follow-up about this topic. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Bye!